Go.
Good morning, it's Jim with Becky behind the camera. We are With It Retirees in beautiful Beaverton, Oregon. Well, it's below freezing this morning, but I'm not complaining. It's going to be sunny this afternoon. Could be worse. So we're here in the fish room and gonna film the third video in this set about having a first aquarium. The first of the three, we talked about what size tank we wanted. The second of the three, we put a tank together and put water in it and got it mostly done. And in this one, we're going to show it completely finished. And we're going to talk a little bit about the tools of the trade and things that might help you with your first tank. First thing is, I must say, there's good news and there's bad news, is that the first tank, if you don't already have a tank, will be by far your hardest. Because once you have a tank set up, then you can take things from it to put in your other tank. So anyhow, my tank came completely cycled because I used water out of my aquaponics system and my other tanks, and I had the plants already put together. So you aren't going to have that advantage, but you need to struggle on. Just remember that this is a journey, not a destination. You're not just going to put a fish tank together and all of a sudden it'll be what you want. It's an ever-changing thing. So anyhow, let's start with what you need, that I know you need to get this going. First thing up here, this is rubbing alcohol. I use it for disinfectant on everything. The reason I like it is it kills the stuff and it leaves no residue whatsoever. It just goes away. So I use that for mushrooms and for fish stuff. Next up, we got, this is a AquaSafe. There are other brands of this, I'm sure, that are cheaper. This is to take chlorine out of the water that you're going to put in, so you can use your water without waiting and stuff. So you need that. Next up, these are aqua plant food tabs. In my system, I use plants that are root feeders because I pot my plants. So every one of my plants will have one of these in it. Anyhow, on over, and now we're going to go into chemical testing here. This is, you need one of these. There isn't another one that really fits the bill. It's the A.P.I. Freshwater Master Test Kit. They have a saltwater test kit too. They probably got something else, but this particular test kit, with one exception, will let you do all of the tests for your water that you need to do. In addition to this, if you're keeping shrimp, they make another, I don't have the box, they make another set, which is KH and GH, general hardness and carbonate hardness, and you'll need this if you're keeping shrimp. So you need this kit and this kit, and that really will allow you to test almost any test you want to do. There are others out there, but not totally common. This is actually a shrimp minerals for increasing the hardness of my water, because I have shrimp. You don't need that necessarily if you don't have shrimp. So anyhow, let's go on with the show. You need a couple of different nets, not a whole lot on a small tank. This is just a get the junk out of the water net, and this is a shrimp net. And if you're catching shrimp, if you're going to have shrimp, you need a shrimp net. They also are nice for various other things. So these are very, very cheap. Almost, it's crazy cheap. This is a bottle brush. If you should have hair algae in your tank and you're having trouble getting a hold of it, if you just spin this around in it, that sucker will just grab it right in, and it makes it a lot easier to get rid of it. So on with the show. This is for aquascaping or other things that all works pretty good. Every aquascaping kit you get will have one of these, and the kits are quite inexpensive. It's around $10 or so. This is an extra long kit. You see, has extra long tongs, has extra long scissors, and so on and so on. But this is for smoothing sand out. You need this stuff. You can do it with a plastic spoon and a paring knife, but you're going to have a lot more fun if you get yourself a set of these tools. There's a lot of them for sale, and just get a decent set. And like I say, I would get the longer ones if it was me. This is an algae scraper, pulls out or in for a long tank. My tanks upstairs are 18 inches deep, so they come clear up to here. So if you may have long ones, these have various different blades you can put in them, but that's what I use for scraping algae. That one right there. Not too much more to know. One thing you're going to want is some good measuring devices, because, for instance, let's skip on forward. This stuff here, if you want to put dechlorinator in a small amount of water, this is a gallon here. It takes that much. So, you know, you save a lot of money doing this if you got a measure right there, so you can put that in, put a gallon of water in here. Now you have a gallon of makeup water. This is a commercial pitcher. It comes from a restaurant supply place. They are tough as they can possibly be. They're expensive, but you know, over the years, it's like a Yeti cooler. It pays for itself. This is a 4-quart, very handy, or 4 liter, depending on the size. This is a 2-quart, half gallon, gallon. Real good things to have, and you're going to use them over and over and over on a daily basis for doing water makeup. If you're doing any kind of work, planting or anything like this, is also a restaurant quality. You need a tray like that, and you can just put everything in there, and so on and so on. And then down to the final thing you need, probably 2 of these, the good old 5-gallon bucket. So if you're doing any kind of big water change or stuff like that, you need one of these. But if you got all that stuff, you're really in pretty good shape. This also is a short version of the scraper, by the way, that you can use. So let's, without further ado, let's go over and look at the tank that we just set up. This tank has been up about 3 weeks. If you'll notice, I'm not cleaning the sides with the scraper, only the front, because it's a shrimp tank, and I want algae to grow on 3 sides for the shrimp. We're not going to focus on the shrimp today, because we'll do that another day. There's one right there, for instance, and there's one up on the heater. Anyhow, I think that in the end, shrimp are very, very important to the well-being of your plants, which are very, very important to the well-being of anything else you put in the tank. So if you start with the plants, go to the shrimp, then get the fish. That's just my opinion. There's a couple things I want to talk about on this tank that will make it real helpful for you when you do aquascape. If you notice, I forgot to mention this the last time, all the way around this tank I have left hopefully an inch, give or take, with no plants and no hardscapes, because when you go to cleaning the sides of your tank, if you don't do that, it's a pain. So if you pile a bunch of crap up against the back wall when you aquascape it, it's a mistake. So anyhow, that's one thing. Another thing you need, algae is good and algae is bad, and you're trying to hit a balance of what you're trying to do in the tank. So important to that is that your light is on a timer. If it's not, you're going to forget it, and it's going to run 24 hours, and you're going to screw things up, and you're going to get algae blooms, and so on and so on. It's important. I'm running 8 hours a day. This is a very simple-minded timer that I bought in this Hager. If you see it, you have a choice of 4 different sets. This is 8 hours, and you set whatever time you set it, it's going to go 8 hours and stop, and then come back on the next day at 8 hours. So these make these very expensive, and a person who's not very talented, such as myself, can make it work. So that I think is a very, very important thing. Other than that, I think next week I'm going to go upstairs and we're going to show you the new shrimp farm we got going up there with a lot of shrimp, and also my plant greenhouse, which is where, oh, that's one thing, where all the plants come from. This plant is new from the last time we showed. We only had this one in. This is, by the way, a medallion sword. And this is a crypt, short for crypto scion, something like that. Anyhow, they're commonly called crypts. I think it's going to like it there. This plant is a little on the touchy side, but it seems to be starting to go. So you can see how easy you can pop them in or out. So anyhow, I will show you the greenhouse for plants upstairs on the next one, and the shrimp. We'll see you then.